Hello there. Today I watched the fifth episode of Secret Invasion, Harvest, and now I want to tell you about it. This episode was directed by Ali Selim, written by Brian Tucker. This video will contain minor spoilers, so beware. After the explosive events of last week, Fury takes the president to the hospital to be treated and prepares for a final confrontation with Gravik. Gaia flees with her father's corpse and looks for shelter, and Gravik fights for control of his men after their failure to kill the president. This episode consists of a series of tense confrontations between the humans and the Skrulls, some character building conversations between the leads, and we see the first sparks of rebellion start in Gravik's camp. We also get two more surprise action sequences. The confrontations come in the form of Fury and Falsworth attacking and threatening several Skrull sleeper agents. Fury goes after Rhodey, and the two actors have a tense little standoff. Falsworth goes after a couple of new characters, as well as the director of the SIS, and we see what makes her such a formidable agent. Sam Jackson got to do a nice little bit of intimidation work against Rhodey, and Don Cheadle met his energy and matched it, but it was a short-lived moment. Jackson has another moment later with Kingsley Benadir over the phone that is similar, but again it's short, and this time the actors aren't even face-to-face. Jackson's best performances were his conversations with Emilia Clarke and Olivia Colman. He has an emotional conversation with Clarke about Talos' death and tries to comfort her in the aftermath of it. He plays it in a way that shows he cared for Talos and wants to be there for Gaia. Clarke is a little stiff in the scene and struggled in general across the episode to show much grief or sadness. Near the end of the episode, Fury has a heart-to-heart with Falsworth about Gravik's goals, and she asks him a few pointed questions about how events transpired. They both give a candid appearance and lay all their cards on the table. It's a simple moment, but it's nice and gets at the humanity of both of them. They don't seem like two powerful directors. They seem like two soldiers having one last chat before the final battle. They don't give Olivia Colman a lot of time to build out Sonya's scenes, but in the short span of time that we see her, she was ruthless, nauseatingly cheery, and ready for anything. She shows off a ton of personality, and the Skrulls seem shocked by her dominant persona. She even gets Fury to accept her British rap music in the car and doesn't let him argue about it. She was highly entertaining every time she was on screen. Besides Fury and Sonya, the episode also sees conversations between Priscilla and Gaia, and Gravik and his men. The conversation between Priscilla and Gaia sees Charlene Woodard relay some anecdotes from Priscilla's marriage to Fury while trying to comfort Gaia. She does a great job of being personable, and when she's talking about Fury, she gets this sweet smile on her face like he makes her happy just thinking about him. It's a lovely moment, only marginally stifled by Clarke's lack of emotion. Clarke receives the monologue passively, but like before, seems lost on what to do in terms of showing grief. Gravik gathers his men early on in the episode to yell at them and make sure they understand who's in charge. It leads to him screaming like a maniac at his soldiers while they stare at the ground like embarrassed children. One person does eventually stand up to him, and we see just how far Gravik is willing to go to maintain control. It was a chilling moment, and Benadir looks unhinged during it. All of the confrontations and conversations took place in fairly basic places, with Fury's house being the only one that truly stood out as a location. It's a fancy house, and the way the actors looked moving through it while conversing was pleasing. The action sequence in it also looked pretty cool. It didn't make much sense why there was so many windows though. The entire room is glass, and it has a skylight? That's too much glass. There's so much cleaning. The camera work for the drama parts of the episode consisted of a lot of back and forth editing and simple shots that focused on close-ups of the actors. We get good access to their emotions, but there's nothing fancy going on here. The first action sequence consists of Gravik fighting with several traitors, and the second is between some assassins and Priscilla and Gaia. Both are fairly standard action scenes with lots of quick edits and regular stunts. They look pretty good for television, but they aren't standing out as special. Where they stand out is in how they start. Both come out of nowhere with a false pretense set up beforehand to lull you into a false sense of security. First time it happened, I was shocked, but the second time I actually jumped out of my seat. It was so well executed. It made for two very exciting action moments. Sound-wise, this episode was filled with silence during the big conversations, and it had background instrumentals to fill out the action sequences and tense confrontations. Instrumentals fit well enough with the scenery, but don't stand out in any way. They just provided the right atmosphere. The silent sections didn't bother me, as they were often more focused on the dialogue than the vibe, and they did bring in instrumentals if they ventured too close to an emotion. Like during the conversation between Gaia and Fury, it starts off silent, but when they open up about Talos, the sad music kicks in and stays until the two start resolving those feelings. It's well done, but the music is just too generic to be significant. The story is probably the weakest part of this episode. It both makes sense on the bigger picture level, yet doesn't feel well executed. It has exciting moments like the 2 surprise action sequences, and some of the drama between the different characters was juicy. If anything, it just felt like they tried to do too much in too little time. The part with Gravik and his men felt like they tried to rush through an entire season's storyline. The parts with Sonya Falsworth could have used a bit more time to be truly fleshed out. I liked the episode overall, but found myself wishing they would have given the creators just a bit more time to work everything out. The visuals were good, but fairly standard for this type of show, and the soundtrack was effective, but filled with generic background instrumentals. There were some great performances this week, and we got some big developments in the story, but there isn't much left to finish up, and I wonder how next week is going to stretch the confrontation between Fury and Gravik. As far as a rating for this episode goes, I think it earned itself a 6 out of 10. And remember, these are just my thoughts on the episode. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Bye bye!